Hello, people. We're starting a podcast. I don't know what it's called, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess so. Basically, this is the first time we're doing it, and we kind of we hung out a couple days ago, and we're figuring out the logistics of how to make one. And so far, we have a bucket list of questions, or rather, like thematic
Topics.
topics.
Yeah.
That can span these out rather than just like a mindless rant for the next hour or so. Okay, would you like to introduce the?
Okay, so.
Or you could bring it up as a sort of a way of like we were talking about this X,
Yeah.
Y, and Z.
So, well, as we were trying to think of a topic today, which we should have done earlier, instead we did it like I would say 2 seconds ago. So, how much of thinking about past crushes or relationships is it okay to? That was that was a terrible explanation. Let's say sitting in bed alone, thinking about whatever you're thinking about, late night thoughts, and then you think about a past crush or a past relationship that you're now moved on from, and how much is that okay? I'm saying.
Is it okay to think?
Is it okay to think? Thanks, Ren. Thank you for that.
Is it okay?
Thank you for simplifying my.
Is it okay to think about possibly infidelity type beat stuff? Not
Okay.
necessarily like cheating. But
Yeah. Well, it's like thought cheating. So I'll give that example then. So like in my past relationship, it's just you can't exactly stop it. You have to like actively think about not thinking about it, if that makes sense.
Well,
and it's so in my past relationship, I would think about these things like a past crush, and I would wonder if that's okay. Like I know it's not cheating, obviously, because I'm not actively doing anything with said person. I was just thinking, is this okay? It doesn't feel right, obviously, but I was just, that's just the question I was trying to make, is whether or not that's okay to think about.
I mean, honestly, I think it is because let's turn to ASMR. Remember I told you about the leader of Joy Division?
Okay.
It was a yes or no question.
Yes, you told, yes.
You remember?
But you should
Okay.
say again, because I'm very forgetful.
So basically, the lead singer of the band, who's very renowned, Ian Curtis, he got married at like around the age of 18. So pretty young.
Yeah.
And eventually he had a kid, like only like a year or two later. Maybe like 3 or at most 4 years, but that's still early. Like, as soon as you get married, you pop out a kid.
Yeah.
But that's also when his popularity like just shot up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And so, and also he was like, he had he was depressed and like, that type of, the typical depressed rock star type thing.
18-year-old kid. Yeah. 18-year-old with a kid. Yeah.
But basically, like if you get married that early, you're kind of questioning like, did I get into this a bit too, like early?
Yeah.
And while he was, touring and stuff, he found that he was getting a little bit bored of his, this life that he possibly didn't want really early on. He was like, shoot. And so he like kind of started a little fling with like a reporter that kind of interviewed him on the side.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he didn't feel good about doing it.
As
eventually-
as you should.
Yeah. And his wife did confront him about it, and he did feel bad. And I think he did eventually go back and forth. Like, I won't do it, but then he tried so
anyway.
hard and did it again. But now he's dead. He committed suicide. Well, to flashback, he did make a song called Love Will Tear Us Apart.
Yeah.
And that just kind of describes the, like, tribes and tribulations of what, like, how to, like, that song is basically like a question that you're that you're asking.
Yeah. Okay.
And now that he's dead, his wife still loves him. He's
Yeah.
not going to condemn him for it. Like, I think it's nice to know that she still has a special place in his heart, even though he was like, not pure with her.
Unfaithful.
Yeah,
All right.
but it's a human thing.
Yeah. Well, sure. That's like a step above what I'm like thinking about it. Of
You're not
course,
gonna
I'm
kill
not going to go. Well, that's a separate issue from the conversation. The like, obviously, I'm not going to go cheat on my non-existent girlfriend. And I'm just thinking about it, but there's a lot of thinking going on, but I understand that how that connects. I understand. And
It honestly depends on the situation. I mean,
yeah,
like, yeah, okay, I don't know. Would you want to give backstory to your whole ordeal?
well, I mean, we could go into that long story, but I gave the example earlier in the podcast about my last relationship and thinking on a past crush that never happened, and I was wondering whether that was okay, and I'm not sure. It felt wrong, really. It didn't feel okay to think about these things because I had someone that cared about me, and I was thinking about this completely separate person that didn't care about me the same way. So I felt very wrong in that situation, and well, I didn't talk to her about it because it wasn't really that significant.
That's
It's insignificant. That's just like, hey, I'm thinking about this other girl. Just wanted to let you know.
It's not like I am going to break up with you right now to go. It's just kind of like people check out other people all the time.
Yeah.
And that's just doing that, but in your mind and not seeing the person.
Yeah.
Like that. Well, it's a little bit more above just looking at someone because they're attractive and like taking a double take. It's more like just thinking about how, I have a really good dynamic with this person. So
yeah, it's
in your case though, it's like a bit different. Cause
yeah, it's a bit. I'll get into it. It's a bit more of a rough. It's a bit more of a deeper connection, I would say, than just like what you were saying, just like a double take. It's a lot more than that. Was a lot more than that. And it's, yeah.
Because it's definitely okay. I mean, we're all gonna feel guilty for it, but did you feel that you came to terms with it? And you're like, oh, okay, it's not right to think about this, but it's
not right to think about it, but it's of no consequence. It's not gonna ruin my relationship because we had plenty of other reasons that didn't work out. And yeah, it's just a thing. It's just thoughts. That's all it is. So, well, okay, I'll get into it then. So, how should I start this? You wanna?
we're allowed to cut out parts.
Okay, we're allowed to cut out parts. So
in his case, the the person he was thinking about was one of his best friend, both of our best friends,
yeah.
Which is why it would it would seem to take more of a toll because you see, we see her all the time and we hang out with her all the time, so
yeah, it's like it's seeing someone so much and so frequently. And it's just like a constant thing I had to deal with. A year and a half ago, for a while until I finally just like came to terms with no, it's not going to happen, and then I moved on. So, but it still was a thing that racked my brain in my latest relationship that just had so much more significance. It's like
the last one or the
the one with our friend. If we wanna, let's just keep it anonymous for the sake of anonymity.
You can give a name.
Let's think. Joy. Let's go.
All right.
So yeah, Joy. Anyway. So yeah, Joy. It was what that would have been. That was summer Summer year.
Are you trying to like
I'm
chronicle when
yeah,
it's
I'm
exactly when it started?
and like up until the point just to give them a
So basically,
sense of scale.
you could give it back. Okay, so it's weird describing this because she's gonna watch this and be like,
Oh, it's
so essentially, what do you call it? First she was my friend, and then he kind of absorbed into the group, and we've been, for at least a handful. How many years now? Like
that would have been
3.5.
3.5.
3.5 years.
So
of being friends with her,
yeah,
and I would consider the group that we have, and it kind of extends more, but like this is starting from the ground up, like the original couple of people in the group.
yeah.
What was I saying? I completely forgot.
Yeah, so you're talking about like just us three, maybe four, counting one other person was.
Oh yeah, we were our own primary group.
Yeah,
So we're seeing each other like
constantly.
constantly.
It's school. Well, of course, same school. Always hanging out after school, on weekends, just all the time. And as he said, for the last like 3.5 years, I would say, 2 of those years, like from beginning to 2 years, I had a crush on her, which was constant up and downs.
It was a roller coaster.
It was a roller coaster, and it was a pretty wild one.
The weird thing is that we could like get her on here and see what her point of view is, because right now we're only seeing it from yours.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously.
Well, I know her point of view. I talked to her about it.
I thought we could flesh that out.
Yeah. So, I thought, see, as being a quiet antisocial, not antisocial type of necessarily, introverted, that's the word, thank you. Introverted individual, it was very hard to get my feelings across to her, which, as I found out, never actually landed, sadly.
I wouldn't say not landed, but it was just bad timing.
Never noticed, and terrible timing also. So, yeah, it's just so that was 2 years of just bad timing, not enough, I wouldn't say conviction, but not enough energy put into it for it to actually be like caught by her or anything like that.
The issue is that you would like, that's risking a lot, because thing we became a solid group by around the end of our middle school year, which is when we would split off into different high schools.
Yeah.
And clearly we're all going to different high schools and none of us went to the same school. And yet we're still really close. Mm-hmm. So that kind of proves, how like tightly bonded we are.
And that's
which is why it would seem like for you, it would be a lot to lose.
Yes. It was a very dangerous thing to put out there. And if it wasn't reciprocated and we decided to make it an awkward situation, that would hurt our group
pretty bad.
Yes. Very destructive.
But that's only if.
See, that's what I was worried about too. It was just, let's think.
I mean, yeah, if you didn't bring it up, so it depends on your approach. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, if she didn't feel the same way at the same time you did, then yeah, that'd be pretty awkward.
Yeah, that would be very awkward it'd be awkward if we both made it awkward, and I know I would have.
You definitely would.
Like, just, not because I wanted to, of course, but it would have been a really rough event if, like he said, if it wasn't reciprocated. That would have been a very rough event for me, making it worse for everybody else, which is one of the reasons I didn't put myself out there as much as I would have or could have and should have. But, yeah.
But, I mean, looking back on it, you guys have talked about it. And
yes.
You're both, I mean, obviously, that was, since you mentioned that it was a past thing.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah, it's past. We talked about it pretty recently over the phone. It was just...
It was on the phone?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was on FaceTime.
Yeah, FaceTime.
I thought you were just like, hey, what's up, person?
What's up, Joy?
Hey.
No, it was it. We talked about it over FaceTime, and she said she just did not notice at all, which I kind of understood because I knew if I was doing enough, she would have responded somehow, but I didn't do enough at all to incite a response.
I mean, it's really both things. Like one, it was like, I feel like since you were so worried about not trying to cause any like signals,
Yeah, problems.
I mean, it's partially your fault, but
It
not
is
like a
no.
bad.
It's
Because
definitely mostly my fault.
It's essentially either shooting your shot or not.
Yeah, shooting my shot, and if it missed, it would have like blown something up. That's basically that's basically the analogy I would draw up for it. It was a very dangerous shot to shoot, and it would have been very destructive.
But the fact that she said she like considered at some point, which is
Yeah.
But the thing is, girls and guys are very different people, and honestly, I feel like sometimes we think about things too much, and then the girl will be completely blindsided about it. But
Yeah.
then girls sometimes are like, "How come guys are so dumb and they don't get our signals?"
Yeah, so I love to overthink things. That's like one of my
It's not that you
main
love to,
attributes.
It's an instinct.
Yeah, it's one of my top instincts, and the priority in my brain is to overthink. So, yeah, it was. So we did talk it over. She did not notice at all. She said she did consider. I don't know. I didn't get a time frame, but that doesn't matter. That's just a separate part. That doesn't really matter at this point. But so all that, and then I was already over it by that point when we talked, and then I got into this other relationship, and I was still thinking about it, of course, but that's where the question comes from. Was it okay to think about, and was there something to it? Like, did it have a substance, or was it not even like worth the time of day to think about, like, at all?
I mean, if it came up naturally in your mind and you thought about it, like consciously, but you weren't trying to act on it, which is the thing.
No,
That's what makes it.
Acting on it. I think acting on it makes it the problem. Makes it a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you were in a relationship and you're acting on it, then obviously that's bad.
That's bad.
But if you told her about it, and if you told your girlfriend about it, and depending on her response, like if she said, cause obviously if you tell her about it, then it would imply that you wouldn't do anything or act on it after that.
Yeah, but it also tells them I'm thinking about other girls while I'm in a relationship with you, which could give off like unfaithfulness and.
But that just depends on.
Depends on the person.
Yeah.
Because if you have an easygoing significant other, then it might not be that big a deal.
You didn't tell her, right?
No, I never told her.
Okay.
It
wasn't big enough for you.
No, it wasn't that big of a deal to me, and I didn't think she would care all that much either. Well, she does. Whatever.
I feel like if you did tell her, she'd probably be a little bit irked about it.
No, she would.
But it's a pretty this situation right now is kind of like common, like a TV sitcom.
Yeah, no, life's a movie, and mine is a very pretty depressing
it's a weird one.
and like anticlimactic one. Let's say. Yeah, that's my story at least.
Because the funny thing is, it's like not to imply that anything's actually going to. My bad.
Yeah, it's all right.
Now, not to say that this is going to make any changes, like that this is going to happen, but in the show, have you watched it?
What show?
How I Met Your Mother.
No.
I was obsessed with it when I was in 6th grade.
Okay.
Now it's looking back on it.
I was obsessed with like Lego Ninjago or something.
Well, I mean, I was too, but it was my sister introduced it to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is not for my age.
Yeah, no, my sister made me constantly watch Full House, and I got sick of sitcoms.
All right, well, Full House was a younger thing. Anyways,
It was rough.
so you don't know anything about it.
No.
Okay, so
Well, I know like how I met.
It's-
It's about how you met.
yeah, it's basically you're never gonna watch it, are you?
No.
Okay, this is a spoiler mention of it. basically, the show chronicles the tale of how he met the mother and whatnot.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, they're all a good, jolly old friend group.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's Ted, the main character.
Mm-hmm.
And Robin is like the new girl that he's like, oh my gosh, But then maybe like at the end of the first half of the show, which is 9 seasons, so like season 2, they break up. But they still remain friends.
Oh my god.
For
Okay.
a while.
Yeah.
Now, it's kind of brought, it's like a roller coaster. In and throughout the seasons, he kind of has like, stirrings back and forth. And
Through the second season.
No, throughout the whole show until the end.
Oh, so they're they're split up from 2 on.
Yeah, 2 on. It's intermittent.
Okay.
So, and by the end of it, he finally does eventually find his beloved wife, mother.
Is Robin mother?
No.
Okay.
But then she dies.
What?
From like it's kind of, the ending, it kind of splits people, but she dies.
Yeah.
And at the end is, it's and then he finishes telling the story to his kids. The whole show is basically a series of stories to his kids.
Yeah.
And at the end, they're like, this is just a story about you totally love Aunt Robin. So basically, he's like, no, I don't. But then eventually he gives it one more try after all these years after his wife's died. And they hit it off one more time.
Huh.
Not to say it's going to happen to you, but...
Yeah, no, I don't think my...
Or I don't know. But...
Well, no one's died yet.
No one's died.
That's dated me or married me. Neither... Only one of those things. And it's... I mean, if it... Life happens.
Yeah.
It's... Whatever happens, happens. It is what it is.
Hey, Dean, we're doing a podcast.
Hey, Dean.
Well, my internet is broken and it's not going to be fixed till Saturday.
Oh my god.
Okay.
All right, well, we want to get your opinion on something.
Hold on.
Can you give the phone
It's not like we're on a podcast or anything, Dean. Oh, he's naked too.
He is? Can you want to show the...
I'm not naked.
Just a little bit. All right.
Make sure the phone speaker's kind of pointing towards the...
Yeah, that's the phone speakers, right? Okay. So, Dean, how you doing?
Am I on
You're on.
speaker?
Yes, you're on.
Hello, I'm doing good.
Okay. So, Dean, we're here talking about let's say like late night thoughts, and you think, let's say you're in a relationship, and you think about a like late crush or another relationship. You think about that person. We're trying to figure out whether or not that's okay or how much of it is okay. So we're talking about that, and we just wanted to know if you have any experience with that or what your opinion on it is.
Well,
We're not going to name
When I
any
was-
names here.
Oh yeah, we're being very.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, when I was with somebody, what's up? My friend Ren and Tyler.
What's up?
It's Mr. Dean.
Oh, what's up?
So, when I was with somebody,
Yeah.
I liked them, but not really.
Okay.
So of course my mind drifted off.
So,
Because
but
I
would you
think-
consider
Okay.
what you had with her like a fling or like a serious like?
Would you consider it a semi-serious relationship? Like, let's.
No.
Well,
Okay, then that's
So-
the thing.
but you. Would it be, if you did anything else, would it be considered cheating to you?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, is that the level? Like, where you
or just talking to somebody?
like,
Acting on it.
like, are you acting on it, like talking to different girls while with this one girl?
Oh no.
Anyway, Dean, as you continue your story, with somebody, mind drifted off. Okay.
Yes. And I knew this thing wasn't gonna last. So I began thinking of what I wanted and
God.
different from what
From
I had.
her, from like in someone else.
Yeah, we're okay. Before we get into the story about your ideal female,
You can speak in a normal tone too, unless you don't want
yeah,
to.
you can talk normally unless you don't. Unless I know you're in a house full of people that probably you don't want to hear. Probably you don't want them to hear this. But we're talking about like a person specifically. We're not just talking about like in general. Like as what I understand so far, you're just saying, I just want someone different than this. We're talking about if you're thinking of someone specifically.
Oh, no, I didn't do that.
Okay.
Oh, all right. So then let's just get your opinion on whether or not you think that's okay to just let your mind drift.
Yeah.
Let's say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone does that. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
So you think
I
it's
think it's fine.
yeah, it's
As long as you don't act on it until you're done
Till your time comes.
with that person.
yeah. Okay, thank you. So you I agree with it just being I agree that I think it's a universal.
It's a human thing.
It's a
So it makes us human.
yeah. It's a.
It's what makes us human.
Okay, so it is a. So you do think it's a universal thing that all people
Yes.
do. All right. Thank you, Dean.
Dean.
Thank you for calling in.
You'll see. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
gonna be our guy on the computers.
Wait, what's the podcast name?
We don't have a
We don't
name
have a
for it.
name yet. We're gonna figure it out.
Thank you. Fill in the blank with podcast name. It was great being on your show, or your podcast.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Dean.
We will see you next time when we talk about ideal female bodies.
Also, P.S. I don't think I can play video games for like a week.
Oh my god.
Because the
Until
internet's
how has it gone till Saturday? You guys like file tax and stuff on the internet.
Yeah, it died.
All right.
How did it
well.
die? Did someone like piss on it or something?
Yeah, Levi took a poop on it.
All right. Well, I guess, but we need to. Whatever. Fine. Okay. Bye, Dean.
Hi, Dean.
Bye.
Screw.
Sorry, audience. There's a bit of humming coming from
Yeah.
the interface.
Screw consistency of sound, but
Yeah.
it's fine.
It's whatever.
So I feel, and we both feel, we're reaching the end of this first podcast, this test run that we will be posting, and I think we've come to the consensus that thinking about other people or reminiscing, I think I would put it better, is all right, and it is a universal thing that people do because humans think. It's not an unusual thing. And yeah.
I mean, if it's in your situation, then that's just if you're in the same situation that he was in, if you're in a relationship and you're possibly thinking about someone else, you honestly just need to evaluating yourself. It's up to you whether or not you want to tell the person, because it's up to you and how you feel whether or not it's that serious with the thoughts of with the thoughts of someone else in your mind. That's up to you.
Yeah.
But as long as you're honest about it, and as long as you just really stay true to yourself about it, if you end up acting on it, it's okay. We all mess up. You just gotta tell whoever you hurt or possibly can hurt and be honest with them, and that's about it. But don't beat yourself up about it too much. But don't also be hoping that you'll get the How I Met Your Mother ending and
Yeah.
hook up with them again magically. Basically, whatever it is, es la vida. Okay, people. At the end of the day, stay safe, have fun, keep it real. Goodbye.
Adios.